Welcome to First and 10, our first take in 10 minutes, right around there. College Football Playoff Committee just dropped their latest rankings with Ohio State and Louisville losing. Let's see what that meant. How far did they drop? And also, what do the rest of these rankings mean? What is the committee telling us? We're going to get into that and a little bit more coming up next. And as you can see, Georgia holds serve at number 1, so Michigan did not jump them. Michigan jumped up from number 3 to number 2. Ohio State was the former number 2. They have dropped to number 6. We'll start there. Is Ohio State, you're hoping for a lot of upsets right now. You need Georgia, Michigan, and Washington to win. And then you need Florida State and all the one-loss teams to lose. Pretty simple formula there for you. So, and a lot of that, if the top 3 teams win, obviously Oregon loses. That would also put Alabama out. And so then you're rooting for Oklahoma State. So you need a lot of things to happen, Ohio State fan. You're not out of it yet. I'm sure if you guys are anything like me, I'm just really thankful that we have a 12-team playoff coming next year. I really wish it was this year because there's a lot of good teams. There's a lot of parity at the top. And more so, I think, than we've had in recent years, which makes me really thankful that it's happening next year. I think again, I spoke about this before with the NIL and with the transfer portal, teams can really change quickly. And I think that having this expanded 12-team playoff is going to be incredibly entertaining. I know it'll water down, the season a little bit, some of these regular season games, some of the rivalry games and whatnot. But I think overall it's going to be a great move for the sport. But back to this year, we've got 4 teams and we've got, basically 8 teams fighting for 4 spots. What was interesting, what I was talking about with Louisville, they have a better win in a really impressive win where they shellacked Notre Dame at home. They stymied them. They stymied their offense. They ran all over them. I mean, they just looked really good playing a really good football team that almost took down Ohio State and probably should have, but didn't. The other 2 lost teams in front of them, and I'm talking. Right here, we're talking LSU. LSU has more than 1 loss, but anyway, 3 lost LSU. Sorry, so 3 lost LSU. We're looking at Oklahoma. We're looking at Ole Miss, Penn State. Now Oklahoma, okay, they've got that win over Texas. That's a good one, right? That's a pretty good win. So I probably can't discount that. But Ole Miss, Penn State, Missouri. I mean, Where's this signature win there that's better than what Louisville did in beating Notre Dame? So my point to all this is that it's a little bit disrespectful. It's a little bit how they're viewing the ACC. And I think it does leave the door open if, let's say, Florida State plays an ugly game in the ACC championship and it's just an ugly rock fight where they can't get the offense going. Tate Rodemaker doesn't look good. He looks just nervous, but for some way, the defense maybe puts up touchdown and 2 touchdowns or something, and or a special teams play, and it just is an ugly win. And then Texas, they go into that Big 12 championship game and they win by like 50, which is not. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying this is a scenario that could happen. I think they're leaving the door open for that. I think they are. I think the door is now open because Louisville's a top 14 team. They're not a top 10 team, which is they probably should be. So I think there's a big difference in perception there. And maybe that's not what they're thinking, but I do have some questions about why they put them down there. Alabama, Georgia, that one's going to take care of itself. The Pac-12, Oregon, Washington, that is a national quarterfinal game. So the winner of that game is in. And so I think if you're Ohio State, you need Washington to win that game. Other than that, I don't see a lot of excitement or, things that really have to get talked about in the rankings. They're all going to take care of themselves in this upcoming weekend. And so now all these teams got to do is they've just got to play the games. And this is why we play them. So the question remains, is it the 4 best teams or is it the 4 most deserving teams? Because those could be 2 different things. And I think that's the question, and that's probably part of the disagreement that we all have in the way we're looking at this. And everybody's paradigm's a little bit different. Is it the 4 most deserving teams may not be the 4 best teams? And so I think you got to keep that in mind. And as of right now, I think the committee is telling us it's the 4 most deserving teams in their mind, if I'm reading the rankings correctly. Because I don't think there's any way that the committee thinks that Florida State would beat Oregon or Ohio State or Texas without their starting quarterback. I don't think that. Maybe Alabama, but I don't think that. I just don't think if they were picking off of the 4 best teams, I don't think that they would make that mistake if you've watched football all season and watched Florida State, without Jordan Travis, who was phenomenal this year. So, again, really sad injury there. Heart goes out to their, Jordan Travis and all that. That is just a significant injury, and we'll see how that goes this next week. All right, before I go, do me a favor, please. If you like the show, smash the like button. If you aren't subscribed already, please just hit the subscribe button. It helps us. We're just getting our feet under us right now here at First and 10. And we love delivering content for you guys. We love the feedback, comments. It all helps us out. So we've got a lot of stuff planned, and we want to keep bringing you the best that we can bring. So for First and 10 and Sports Idol Nation, I'm Josh Rodriguez, and thank you for joining.